Good morning, students. Welcome to your geography class. I hope all of you are well. Today we will discuss about Peninsular Plateau. As you all know, we are continuing the second chapter. So today we will discuss the third part of this chapter, which is Peninsular Plateau. Okay. So the Peninsular Plateau is a tableland composed of old crystalline, igneous and metamorphic rocks. So the structure of this peninsular plateau region is kind of tabular. It means the top layer is plain, but it has the height from the ground, from the sea. It has the height, and the top layer is very much smooth. Okay, so the peninsular plateau is the tableland composed of the old crystalline, igneous and metamorphic rocks. It was formed due to the breaking and drifting of Gondwana land. Okay, now Gondwana land is the oldest landmass of the world. Okay, now previously we have only one single plate, or we can say now we have one supercontinent. That name was Pangaea, but due to the plate movement, when plates started moving, it divided into two parts. The northern part known as Angara land and the southern part is known as Gondwana land. Now again, due to the drifting, due to the shifting of the plates, due to the plate movements, this Gondwana land split it into parts, and it formed today's present world. Okay, today's present continents, islands and all. So the southern part, or the peninsular plateau region of India, is part of this oldest landmass, which is known as Gondwana land. Now this plateau has a broad and shallow valley, rounded hills. Okay, as you have seen, now the geologically Himalayan mountain region is very much young. Okay, so it has the peak points. Okay, it has a rugged mountain, but as the southern part of India, which is peninsular plateau region, which is part of oldest landmass, so we can't expect that we also have the rugged mountains, the loftiest mountains over here. So the hills which we have here is very much rounded shape and shallow. Okay, and the height comparatively is very much low. Okay, because of the erosion, because they are very much old age wise, so constantly they are facing the erosion activity of wind, rain, running water, okay, weathering. They are facing so many things, so their height comparatively is very much low than Himalayan mountain range. So this plateau consists of two broad division, namely Central Highland and Deccan Plateau. So this whole peninsular plateau region, it has two division. It is Central Highland and Deccan Plateau. Now the part of peninsular plateau lying to the north of Narmada river, if you see the map, you will see Narmada river, right? After Vindhya range we have Narmada river. So northern part of this Narmada range is known as Central Highland, and the southern part of this Narmada river is known as Deccan Plateau or Deccan Trap range, as you can clearly see here. So Central Highland is the northern part of Narmada river, and Deccan Plateau is the southern part of Narmada river. So the part of peninsula lying to the north of Narmada, covering the major area of Malwa Plateau. Okay, it covered major area of Malwa Plateau known as Central Highland. So northern part of this Central Highland, the Narmada river is Central Highland, and it covered a major part of Malwa Plateau. Now the Vindhya range is bounded by the Central Highland. As you have seen, now the northern part of Narmada is Central Highland, and this area is covered by Vindhyan range. Okay, as well as in northwest we have Aravalli. If you see the map, if you will open the map, you will see that here in the northern part of Narmada we are getting the Vindhya range, so it's covering the Malwa Plateau range, as well as in the northwest we have this Aravalli range. So this is the boundary, this is the border of Malwa Plateau. Okay, because after this Aravalli range or the western part of Aravalli range is written as, clearly you can see, Great Indian Desert. Okay, so in the west side Aravalli range is the border of Central Highland or Malwa Plateau. Okay, so the Vindhya range is bounded by Central Highland on the south and Aravalli on the northwest. So the farther westward extension gradually merges with the sandy and rocky desert of Rajasthan. As I said, Plateau slowly, gradually will merge with the western part of India, which is desert region. Okay. Now, the flow of the rivers draining from this region. Okay, we have some non-perennial rivers from this peninsular Plateau range. Okay, and this is namely Chambal, Sen, Betwa and Ken, which move towards the east, which move towards the northern part of India. Okay, and actually these are this Chambal, Sen, Betwa, Ken. Actually these are the tributaries of Ganga river from the peninsular region. Okay, so Chambal, Betwa, Son, Ken, these are some rivers, non-parent rivers from the peninsular region, and they all move towards the north. Okay, and they are joining with the Ganga river actually. So the Central Highland are wider in west but narrow in the west. As you will see the map, you can clearly see that the Central Highland is wider in the western part compared to eastern. In eastern part it is very much narrow. Okay, it is very much narrow, but in western part it is comparatively wider. Okay, as I said, whenever you will learn this chapter, you should go for the map, because through map, if you will learn this topic, it will make you easy. Okay, it will be easy for you to understand these topics. Okay, so all of you should try to learn this chapter through the map which is given in your textbook, or if you have any extra map book. Okay, so the Central Highland are wider in west but narrow in the east. The eastward extension of this plateau is locally known as Bundelkhand and Baghelkhand. Okay, you have heard it in your history that Bundelkhand and Baghelkhand. Okay, this is very important in our Indian history, these two places. Okay, and this two place is part of this Central Highland only. The eastward extension of this Central Highland is Chatnagpur Plateau, marks the farther eastward extension, and this is drained by Damodar River. Okay, so the eastward extension of Central Highland is Chatnagpur Plateau, where we actually live, and this area is drained by Damodar River. Okay. So if you open the map, you will see that the Deccan Plateau is a triangular landmass. Okay, it's a triangular landmass, and we have three sides of water body in this peninsular plateau region. So after we have completed, we have discussed the Central Highland. Now we'll discuss about the Deccan Plateau. The Deccan Plateau area is basically triangle in shape, and this is the southern part of Narmada River. I have already shown you that Central Highland is the northern part of Narmada River, as well as Deccan Plateau is the southern part of this Narmada River. Okay, the Satpura range flanks the broad base in the north, while Mahadev, Kaimur Hills and Michael range from eastern extension. So not only we have the Satpura range in Deccan Plateau range, we also have Mahadev Hills, Kaimur Hills and Michael range. Okay, so these are some hills range in this Deccan Plateau region. So Deccan Plateau region is higher in the west, and slopes generally be gentle towards the eastward. Okay, so as we have Eastern Ghat and Western Ghat included in this peninsular plateau region, so height wise it is more in the western side. Compared if we go towards east, the slope is very much gentle because the height is very much low over there. So an extension of this plateau is also visible in the northeast, locally known as Meghalaya. So now Meghalaya belongs to the northeastern part of our country. It is totally detached from the Deccan Plateau region, but previously, okay, it was a part of this plateau range. It is separated by, why it is separated? Now it's separated by the fault from the Chotnagpur plateau. So the Meghalaya plateau, which is now belongs to the northeastern part, it was actually part of Chotnagpur plateau, but due to the fault, due to the plate movement, this part of Chotnagpur plateau is separated from it, and now it is belongs to the northeastern part of India, and it is known as Meghalaya. Okay, so the three prominent hills of this ranges are Garo, Khashi and Jaintia. So in this Meghalaya range, okay, which is a part of the plateau, okay, it is consists of three prominent hills. It is Garo, Khashi and Jaintia. Already we have discussed this in our when we discussed the Himalayan mountain range, we discussed about these hills. So now I hope all of you understand that Meghalaya is actually a plateau which was a part of Chotnagpur plateau region previously, but due to the plate movement, due to the separation, okay, due to the fault only, okay, this is now belongs to the northeastern part of India. So after this peninsula, after this Central Highland and Deccan Plateau, the next feature of this Peninsular Plateau range is Western Ghat and Eastern Ghat. Okay, so the Western Ghat and Eastern Ghat mark the western and eastern edges of the Deccan Plateau respectively. If you see the map, you will get to understand this. So here you can clearly see the two sides of Deccan Plateau region. We have this prominent feature which is Eastern Ghat, which is Eastern Ghat in eastern side and Western Ghat in western side. These two are also very prominent part of Peninsular Plateau region, Western Ghat and Eastern Ghat. Okay, so Western Ghat lies parallel to the western coast. They are continuous, can be crossed through passes only. Okay, so Western Ghat is lie parallel to the western coast and it is continuous. It is crossed through passes only. The Western Ghat is higher than the Eastern Ghat. Height wise, Western Ghat is higher than the Eastern Ghat. So the average height of this Western Ghat is 900 to 1600 meters as against of 600 meters only. Okay, so Western Ghat, that's why it is previously it was mentioned that height wise we have majority portion in the west, and as we move towards the east we will get the gentle slope. So Western Ghats are higher than the Eastern Ghats, as the Western Ghat height is around 900 to 1600 meters against 600 meters of Eastern Ghats. The height of Eastern Ghat is 600 meters and the height of Western Ghat is within 1600 meters. So the Eastern Ghat stretches from Mahanadi Valley to Nilgiri Hills. This Eastern Ghat started from Mahanadi Valley to Nilgiri in south. The Eastern Ghat is discontinuous, as we have seen now. So as we have seen, Eastern Ghat is comparatively discontinuous to as Western Ghat is very much continuous, but Eastern Ghat is not continuous, it is discontinuous. Why? Okay, because Western Ghat is the place where maximum of the rivers originated. Okay, where maximum of the rivers originated and they move towards the east. Okay, they slowly move towards the east, and where they started the deposition activity, and they are doing the erosion activity as well as the deposition activity. So when they are doing the erosion and deposition activity in the east, okay, it make it discontinuous. The range is discontinuous here. So it is irregular and dissected. It is clearly written, it is dissected by the rivers drained into Bay of Bengal. So rivers started from the Western Ghat, moved towards Eastern Ghat, and it is dissected, it is cut it through. It's cut it through the rivers from the Western Ghat only, and they are doing all their deposition activity in the Eastern Ghat. That's why Eastern Ghat is discontinuous, irregular. Okay. Now the Western Ghat cause orographic rain by facing the rain bearing moist wind to rise along the western slopes of the Ghats. Now what is orographic rain? Orographic rain means when any mountain is close to sea or any ocean or any water body. So as we know, due to evaporation system, cloud will form. They will gradually move towards the land to have to provide us rainfall. Okay, so when clouds started moving towards the land, and if they got any mountain, so first they will collide with the mountain. So the front part of the mountain will got the majority portion of the rainfall. Okay, and the same cloud when will go to the back side of the mountain, it will get very less amount of rainfall. So this type of rainfall known as orographic rain, where front side of the mountain will get majority of amount of rainfall, because this is the front part and cloud will first collide with this part, so they will get the majority of rainfall. As the cloud will go towards the back side of the mountain, as they are containing very less moisture now with them, so the back side of the mountain will get very less rainfall. So this is known as orographic rain. So Western Ghat is causing the orographic rain by facing the rain bearing moist winds to rise along the western slopes of the Ghats. So the Western Ghats are known by different local names. Now the highest peak points. The highest of the Western Ghats progressively increase from north to south. Okay, and the highest peak points of Western Ghat is Anai Mudi, which is 2695 meters. Okay, so the height of this Western Ghat, the highest peak point of this Western Ghat is Anai Mudi, which is 2695, and the next highest peak point of this Western Ghat is Doda Beta, which is only 2637 meters. Okay, so if the question is about the highest peak point, you should write about Anai Modi. Don't write Doda Beta, because it is the second highest peak point. Okay, and so Mahendragiri, next is Mahendragiri. This is the highest peak point of the Eastern Ghat. Okay, so Anai Modi is the highest peak point of Western Ghat, and Mahendragiri is the highest peak point of Eastern Ghat. Okay, now Shaivori Hills, Javadi Hills are also located in the Eastern Ghat. Okay, is a famous hill station which is Udaga locally or very popularly known as Ooty. So these are some very famous hill station in Eastern Ghat, Udaga or Ooty, and Kodaikanal, which is famous for its tourism. Now, one of the distinct features of Peninsular Plateau is black soil. As we all know, after alluvial soil, black soil is the second important soil in our country. It is only we have this type of black soil in this Deccan Trap region or Deccan Plateau region. Why? Because this area is formed by the volcano. Okay, by the volcanic activity this area is formed. So this area is having most of the igneous rocks, because this area is consist of igneous rock, basically basalt rock. Okay, in this area we are having basic the basalt rock, and gradually by the weathering system, by the erosion activity of the rivers, when this basalt rock form very fine particles and they merged with humus and all, this soil formed, and the color of the soil came out black, because the basalt rock, the parent rock of this soil is basalt rock, and the color of this basalt rock is black. So automatically the soil formed from this basalt rock will be black only in color. So in this Deccan Trap region, so that's why this Deccan Trap region is having black soil, because this area is formed by the lava. Okay, and mainly it's formed by the igneous rock, which is basalt rock. So this is one of the important feature of this Deccan Plateau, Deccan Trap region. The Aravalli Hills lies on the western part of this range, is Peninsular Plateau. There are highly eroded hills are found in Broken Hills. As I said, because this Peninsular Plateau region is part of the oldest landmass, so we can't expect that in this region we have a rugged mountain, we have the loftiest mountains. No, in this region mostly we are having eroded hills found at Broken Hills because of the weathering system, because of the erosion activity of wind, river, rainfall, for so many reasons. And they, of course, they are age wise they are old, and because age wise they are old, so in this area mostly we are finding Broken Hills. So I hope you all understand what is the reason behind the eroded Broken Hills over here, because of they are old. Okay, so and due to the weathering activity, due to the erosion activity, okay, this happened. The extent from Gujarat to Delhi, southwest to northeast direction. Okay, so the extension of this Aravalli Hills is from southwest to northeast direction, and it is the border of the whole Peninsular Plateau region in west. Okay, so I hope this video helps you to understand today's topic. Thank you everyone. Thank you for watching today's video.